This is Eagle Owl, and today we're going to talk about GMs being afraid of Howie Roseman. Come on, Howie not the boogeyman. He just human. Also, we got to talk about CJ Johnson and how Brian Dawkins knew he was going to get traded, and he gave his reason why. And lastly, we got to talk about Jahan Dotson Option being declined. But let's get straight into it. All right, man, before we hop straight into it, it's only right because today is draft day and we talk about the draft just a little bit, right? Maxwell Harrington, according to Peter Schrager, he believes he's going to fall to the Eagles at 32 and the Eagles will select him. Now, I've been talking about Maxwell Harrington out of Kentucky for a minute. Like this guy, he a bit undersized. I think he like 5'11-ish, but he got that speed. He can cover anybody. I know a lot of Eagles fans don't like him as an outside corner because they think he's too small. But I don't. But I will say this. Say if Walter Nolan's off the board, Malachi starts, Trey Amos. I'm trying to think of a couple guys, but those are the guys that on the top of my head because those are the guys I want. But if those guys are off the board, Donovan Izaraku, look, you could trade back and get Maxwell Harrington, collect some extra picks, but yeah, you could definitely trade back if you want Maxwell Harrington. I don't think you need to select him at 32 now. What's interesting about the trade back, we talk about that. Let's just get into that quick hit that the Eagles can possibly trade back because the Giants or the Cleveland Browns, almost called them the Cleveland Cavaliers because there's a lot of basketball going on, but Cleveland Browns are looking to trade back into the first round and take a quarterback. And what's interesting about this is that the Giants, remember the son that was telling the GM, you got to go get Jaden Daniels, and the GM brushed his son off like, we'll see. And we seen what Jaden Daniels did. But now his son posting like, Jackson Dart, go get Jackson Dart. Now, I don't think they get him at 3, of course. That's Abdul Carter for sure. But I could see them trading back in the first round to beat the Browns to getting Jackson Dart. Because now you go into the second round, whatever, you had a 33rd or 34th pick. So I wouldn't be mad at us trading back. But I know there's a lot of talk. Man, we got to trade up. Which it wouldn't be surprising if we do. But I won't be surprised if we just trade out. If we want a guy like Maxwell Harrington, get him like with the 33rd, 34th pick. You somewhat save money as well because you didn't draft anybody in the first round. It would be boring to watch all the way up to the Eagles pick to find out we traded out. But what makes sense if certain guys are just off the board and you can get good value if, like, again, the Trey Amos fall or Maxwell Harrington fall. Some of these really good guys just fall, so it doesn't hurt to go to 33rd, 34, and let one of those teams get Jackson Dart. Now, if it was me, I would trade with the Cleveland Browns because you don't want to make the Giants any better. You just don't. Even though I don't think Jackson Dart is like a game changer type guy, but why give the Giants that satisfaction? No. The Cleveland offers something close, take the Cleveland offer, and I wouldn't be mad if we trade back. At all. And speaking of Howie Roseman, I'm hearing that these GMs are scared of him. So I believe it was Adam Schefter that spoke to the Fanatic, and he alluded to like anonymous GM said something like for 215 number call, I'm not picking up. So that lets you know Howie Roseman got that reputation. They look at him as the boogeyman. He always get over when he decides to trade up. The most recent one was Cooper DeJean. I mean, these other teams could have did it too. Hell, we traded with Washington. They could have stayed there and got Cooper DeJean. That's their fault. But I always see when Howie Roseman talk, he always say like, look, I'm not manipulating anybody. I'm just making good deals. Whereas I feel like both teams can win the deal, which he do. But for some reason, he always on the winning side. So, don't block his number, man. Answer the phone for Howie when he call. Answer it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of the boogeyman. He don't bite. He just get the right picks. So again, don't be scared, man. You guys can't do that to us, all you GMs. Like, we just not gonna make any deals with Howie because we don't want to look crazy. Nah, don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, so something I want to talk about. I know I said I was gonna stop talking about CJ Gardner Johnson, but Brian Dawkins, because Brian Dawkins was a huge fan of CJ Gardner Johnson. He spoke about it. He said he was a little bit surprised that CJ Gardner Johnson was traded, but it's one of those things he understand because the Eagles standard. But let me play this clip.
Were you surprised to see them move on from Chauncey?
I'm surprised, a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit.
Why not a whole lot?
Um, there's just certain aspects of how the Eagles have run things in the past. If you've ever looked at the individuals that the way that individuals communicate in the past, that is not as how can I say it, as as raw. I'll just use the word raw.
Right.
Sure.
As he would do often. So I thought that at some point that would be something that would probably be something that would have him no longer be a part of the Eagles organization.
I'm gonna just say it for Brian Dawkins. I'm gonna keep it a bean. He too hood for the Eagles. He too hood. That's what he really trying to say. When CJ Gardner Johnson, going back and forth with teammates, he's can be loud, a little obnoxious a bit, and which fans we love. We love the players that's fiery and that play with a lot of heart, that love the city on the field, but off the field, you don't want to see that stuff. And then I believe CJ Gardner Johnson said something. He was on a string with DDG, and like they were smoking weed in the locker room when we won the Super Bowl. Like, he put that out there, and it's like you just can't say that, even if it was true. You can't say that on a public platform. You just can't do it. So again, they saying this money. I don't buy it, to be honest. I just don't. But I think it's other stuff. Now, money could have played the part. That could have been, a reason they gave CJ Gardner Johnson. But I think if they really love CJ Gardner Johnson, like the fans do, you find a way to keep that guy. But they felt like he was replaceable and maybe he'd do a little too much off the field. Like Brian Dawkins said, really look at the Eagle guys that stayed long term, like a Brian Dawkins stayed long term. Think of like a Brandon Graham. Yeah, Brandon Graham is loud on the field, but he don't do too much off the field. He don't. Who else? Fletcher Cox really to himself. I believe Jalen Hurts is going to be here for a long time. Jason Kelsey retired at Eagle. So those just guys I'm naming. And you see how their personality is. Like, yeah, they fiery on the field, but off the field, they be chilling. CJ Gardner Johnson be wilding. So, again, I'm kind of with Dawkins on this one. I'm definitely with Brian Dawkins on this one. But let's get into the last topic. Last but certainly not least, Jahan Dotson option was declined. Now, this is no surprise to me that we declined his 5th-year option. I'm assuming the next news is going to be the Kenyon Green guy that we just traded for at Houston. His 5th-year option is going to be declined. And there's a lot of Washington fans going at Jahan Dotson. Hell, it's Eagles fans going at Jahan Dotson. I will say this. Jahan Dotson got a ring. And he was very reliable towards the end of the season. Look at the game he had against Green Bay. He caught the touchdown. Look at the Super Bowl. He was the spark plug. I know Devontae Smith catch get a lot of praise, but that Jahan Dotson thing, when Jalen Hurts was like, Dotson, I'm going to you, win that matchup, and that's exactly what happened. Hey, you can't deny that. Jahan Dotson is really good. He was just lost. I won't say lost, but it was just too much. You had Saquon having a career year. AJ is still AJ. Devontae is still Devontae. Dallas Goedert is a top tier tight end. The reason why he don't get the top 3, top 5 label it's because of the injuries. And then you just got Jahan Dotson. You know, he couldn't get as much targets. Now, this is what we always ask for our wide receiver 3. Are you reliable when your number's called? Jahan Dotson check that box. Can you win your one-on-ones? He check that box. Do you play with heart when it's time to block? Jahan Dotson check that box. He did everything we wanted out of the wide receiver 3. He did everything. So I got to salute Jahan Dotson for that. If this is last year, and now when you look at the draft, you see why a lot of people got us getting a possible wide receiver 3 in the draft is because, do you believe in Terrence Marshall Jr.? Can he turn his career around? Maybe. Anaya Smith haven't showed enough. That's just a wait and see thing. Johnny Wilson, I mean, he's a good blocker. If he bulk up, I believe he could be a good tight end. But them hands, man, them hands are terrible. He got 1 target in the Super Bowl, dropped it, and that was it. That was it. Jalen Hurts like, oh, hell no. Hell no. This ain't happening. So, I mean, I like Jahan Dotson. I know, again, he get a lot of flack because he didn't have the flashy numbers, but Jahan Dotson wasn't brought here to be that guy. A lot of people just keep looking at that 3rd round pick. He wasn't here to be that guy. He was here to be a reliable wide receiver 3, which he was. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel on this draft day? How do you feel, man? They better pick up the phone for Howie Roseman. Also, Jahan Dotson option being declined. How we feel about that? The one I'm going to talk about is Jordan Davis. We don't talk about that. See what happens with him. Look, man, Harrington, a lot of draft talk. I talked about CJ Johnson, but this is Eagle Al, man. And leave my eye alone, man. I'm sorry, man. This allergies getting to me. I'm out.